So imagine this. It is late in the evening, it was quiet in your house, and you were having a very lazy night in. It had been such a long day, and you just wanted to be by yourself. So you made yourself a very tasty, filling dinner, so much so that it is currently giving you food coma. But it was only a little late in the evening, so you try your best to stay awake for a few more hours. Because you know that if you sleep right now, you could be ruining your sleep schedule, and you do not want to do that. So you sit in front of the TV, turn it on, and let it drone on and on until the sound becomes one with the background. You turned off the lights to your living room. The TV was the only thing that was illuminating the room now, and it becomes so peaceful to you that it lulls you into a quiet sleep. And so, you fall asleep right there on the sofa, possibly with your leg on the armrest, your hand above your head, and a slight drool coming from your mouth. You don't know how long you have been asleep, but as the night dragged on, you're finding it harder and harder to breathe. You try to take in a deep breath, but it feels like something heavy is on your chest, just weighing you down. You think it's probably because you slept in the wrong position? And you're still sleepy, still groggy, so in your sleep-addled mind, you decide that the best way is to change your position. And that's when you notice it. Your limbs refused to move. Your arms felt like they had been attached to 100-pound weights. Your mind was telling you to change positions, but your body does not want to cooperate, no matter how much you tried. Your limbs refused to budge. Even in your sleep, the confusion slowly started to prickle your mind. The last thing that you remember is falling asleep on the sofa. You do not remember there being anything around you that could weigh you down. Your mind was screaming at you now, but even opening your eyes felt like a chore. But when they finally did, that's when you saw it. A thick, dark blob sitting right on top of your chest. You were still in limbo, your mind still trying to wake up from your sleep, trying to make sense of what was happening. But when you finally do, your confusion quickly turns into terror. Because right there on your chest is this terrifying figure just sitting. She was almost skeletal and old with leathery skin full of wrinkles, and as she leaned closer to your face, you could see her red eyes glowing in the darkness. Her hair is unkempt, just all over the place, sticking in every direction and matted in some areas. Her tattered clothes clung onto her bony arms. You try to scream, maybe trying to wake yourself up from this nightmare, or even try to move or shout to alert anyone in the neighborhood. But you cannot seem to move an inch, and the last thing you see is the figure's bony fingers reaching for your throat, and a shrill laugh, almost like a high-pitched cackle, as the creature makes it more and more difficult for you to breathe until you pass out. And if you survived that night, you would be alive to tell everyone that you survived the Brazilian demon that claims its victims by mimicking effects of sleep paralysis, causing the victim to feel suffocated and crushed under its weight. So sit down, grab a snack, and let me tell you the tale of La Pisadeira, the Brazilian sleep paralysis demon. La Pisadeira is a supernatural being from Brazil that is associated with sleep paralysis. She's usually depicted as this old, frail woman with long, bony fingers. Her nails are dirty, and she also has this tangled and sometimes matty white hair. Her eyes are wide and glow red. She's said to have green teeth and a large chin that is pointed upwards. And it is said that her eyes and mouth are always wide open, which honestly sounds terrifying. And worst of all, she has this high-pitched laugh that is almost constant. According to the different legends, she's said to hang out on top of the roofs of buildings and houses, just waiting and watching, basically blending into the darkness as she waits for her prey. Her prey are usually people who stayed home at night, unfortunately. People that have had their tummies filled to the brim with dinner and then fall into a deep, deep slumber. Okay, here's the thing. I understand being haunted by things because you're outside and did something stupid. Or you moved into a haunted place or bought something that had spirits attached to it. And so now you have the supernatural being that is haunting you. But being haunted when you are just being an introvert, that just blows. Anyway, getting back to La Pisadeira, she hides up on top of these roofs, and once she finds her victim, she leaves her hiding place and then blends into the night and enters the house of her victim. Once the victim dozes off into a deep sleep, she steps on their chest, settling down as if it's the most comfortable place in the world and that there is no other place to sit. And the victim, they will remain in a state of paralysis. They are completely aware of everything that is around them, but they have no control of anything that will happen to them. And they won't have a say over whatever they are told to do. Which is honestly, again, terrifying. But given her name, the way that she hunts is actually fitting. Pisadeira is a Portuguese word. Pisar means to step on something, and given how she takes her victim, is actually very apt. So where did this legend come from? Some say that La Pisadeira is related to the Portuguese tale of Fradinho da Mão Furada. According to the tale, Fradinho waits for his victims to fall into a deep sleep. He then enters their bedroom and then presses his heavy hand on the victim's chest so that the victims cannot scream. One explanation of how the tales of Pisadeira came about is that it could be descended from the original tales of Fradinho, a tale that traveled along with the Portuguese people as they settled into Brazil. The story, therefore, evolving from that of Fradinho to Pisadeira to reflect the Brazilian nuances and cultures at that time. And as such, the legend of Pisadeira has since spread throughout Brazil, going far and wide into various regions of the country, where each local city and town has their own interpretations of the supernatural creature. In the region surrounding Sao Paulo, she is depicted as an Afro-Brazilian woman, but those around the San Francisco region, tales of the Pisadeira depict her as wearing a red outfit and red hat. Some regions, though, the story of Pisadeira is told as the masculine version of the creature. So instead of an old woman that haunts her victims, it's an old man. The male creature is known by the name Pisador, and it is said that Pisador's strength would increase when someone mocks or insults them. So basically the opposite of Pennywise. Got it. But it seems that every iteration of the creature, there is always one thing in common. All the iterations of Pisadeira show her as completely and utterly evil, sowing chaos, fear, discomfort, and living off of the panic of her victims. Apparently, the only way to fight off La Pisadeira is to have wise eating habits and change your sleep positions. Like, just don't lay on your back, essentially. Another version says to just act with humility, because some versions of the story say that she feeds off of her victim's arrogance and carelessness. So if you start acting humble in front of her, you might have a chance to fight her off. So essentially, the exact opposite of what you should be doing to Pennywise. But if you are already under attack, well, let's just say that she attacks you when you are asleep. You will be in a state of sleep paralysis, so you are already going to be scared and terrified. That is what feeds the Pisadeira. She feeds off of your terror, your fear, your helplessness, and you need to make sure to not give her more nourishment. So try and remain calm. Don't panic, and try to make some sort of sound, because some legends say that the paralysis can be broken by trying to scream or making some kind of sound. But coming from someone that has experienced sleep paralysis before, yeah, that's not gonna work. So, good luck. But like most folktales, La Pisadeira was used as a way to explain the unexplainable. Why do we wake up randomly in the middle of the night? And when we do, why does it feel like we're being watched? And the weight on the chest that makes you feel like you cannot breathe? And the vision of the figure in the distance? That cannot just be our minds playing tricks because we're not fully awake, right? The legend of La Pisadeira was told as a way to explain the sleep paralysis or night terrors that one might experience, essentially giving the feeling a tangible form to explain a phenomenon that not everyone understood during the olden days. I guess it's better to say a sleep paralysis demon is the cause for all the night terrors than just to state that it was just your brain trying to make sense of everything around you. So, if you wake up in the middle of the night feeling as if you're being watched, or if you have a compression on your chest making you feel like you cannot breathe, maybe, just maybe, La Pisadeira paid you a visit. So be careful when you fall asleep tonight, and make sure not to lay on your back. That's all for today. Until next time, sweet dreams and good night.